Hi everyone, Matthew with Dr. G in Technology, and today we're going to be discussing the career path of a project management professional, along with what you can make and kind of how to get there regarding becoming a project manager, especially in IT. So before we get too deep, certainly comment down below. Let us know what you want to hear more of. That way we can create, content that's suitable for your IT journey. Also, click the bell, the like button as well, and subscribe button. That way you can be alerted to any new content we have coming out regarding all things related to your technology career to help you grow. And then lastly, in the upper corner, click and download the free guide on how much can I make working in IT. So whether you're a beginner or experienced or advanced in IT, the guide will give you a pretty good idea of where you're headed salary wise, right? So last thing, also click down below and you'll see the link for our group. The IT Village is what we call it, and there'll be other individuals like yourselves out there. You can ask career level questions, maybe see a few job postings. I've posted a couple already that you might be interested. So hopefully we'll see you in the IT Village. So first up, training, right? I think that's one of the first things to do regarding project management. If you're thinking about going into it, even if you don't desire to take the exam just yet, I would suggest you go off and get training. That way you can at least kind of understand what you're getting yourself into. Where to go for training? Well, most chapters exist in major cities that are project management focused. You might be able to find them on Meetup, or you might also look at PMI.org's website, and that's the Project Management Institute's website regarding where chapters are. And there's plenty of other organizations that provide training on project management. My suggestion is maybe focus on either the CAPM or the PMP. If you're a beginner, maybe the CAPM. But if you really are gung ho, you want to go for the PMP. That's kind of the 900-pound gorilla. I would suggest it, right? And the career path for a project manager essentially starts with you having some experience working on a project. Maybe you were a worker bee or you were the lead, right? Even if you didn't follow a formal project management methodology, maybe your company didn't even adopt any kind of project management methodology, you likely have experiences in project management. So that's kind of where you get started, is you bring those experiences. Even if you're a newbie, maybe you have some experiences on some school projects, etc., into the workforce, right? And from there, you can translate those experiences into project work. And that's kind of how it works, right? So the career path usually starts out with you being a worker bee in whatever area, and then moving on from there into kind of a leadership role where you become a lead, and now you're leading resources. You may not necessarily be managing them, or you might be managing tasks or budgets of that nature, but that's kind of where you want to go. You eventually want to become a lead, right? Again, whether you're following a project management methodology or not, it doesn't really matter when you're first getting started. At that point, I think that's when you really want to start diving into training. If you like what you're seeing with becoming a lead, then you can think to yourself, well, maybe I can translate these into project management skills, and then go for the training. And I think it would be quite helpful. And so from there, you can start thinking about gunning for maybe the PMP exam. And so while this video is not necessarily meant to cover all things PMP, I'll go over a few things as well as how I went and studied for it. So PMI is the Project Management Institute. They are the ones who administer the PMP, come up with the content through what's called the PMI body of knowledge. That is the Bible that all of us have to study and kind of memorize, if you will, to a degree to get ready for the exam. Uh, the cost to go to training obviously will vary just depending on what you pick, but the cost to actually take the exam will range to be either about $405 if you're a member of PMI, and if you're not a member, right at the moment, it's about $555. My understanding is if you become a member and then apply for the exam, it's still altogether cheaper than just applying for the exam with not becoming a member. Right? Passing score as of the timing of this video is about 80%, and there's 180 questions, and you have about just shy of 4 hours to take the exam, right? So how much can you make working as a PMP? And I've kind of covered this in some other videos regarding salary, but I'm going to range it between 42,000 and about 190,000, right? And these are coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm not just pulling these out of the air. And of course, this varies on experience, your responsibilities, where you live, so on and so forth, right? At the lower end, that's for maybe the beginner who might be kind of a scheduler type of individual, all the way up to somebody who's managing, programs, which are a collection of projects, right? So, it's a very wide range of of a salary, and it just all depends on those variables that we discussed. But that's kind of as you start navigating your career path as a project manager, you know, taking the PMP will be helpful. You don't have to have the PMP to be a project manager, to be hired as a project manager. Some companies really favor it. They want you to walk in the door with it. Some don't. Some say, hey, it's nice to have, but really we just need somebody who knows how to do the job, so to speak, right? And so that's where you can kind of really gain some leverage here is if you don't have the PMP and over time they want to actually um, help you maybe even get training in becoming PMP certified, then that would be helpful, right? How did I study and pass for the exam? Well, when I was going for my project management professional, my company that I worked for at the time, they had some training about once a month because they were really into it. And so I attended the training for over a period of, let's just say, about 8 months, 9 months, give or take. At the time, I was also still in school going for my master's degree, plus, working. So I had a lot on my plate. After I finished all the training, I studied the PMBOK, and we looked at the PMBOK throughout the training, took some simulator exams, and then eventually actually applied for the exam, took it, and passed it. So over time, it took me about 13 months total from the time I started training to the time I took the exam. That being said, the key in all of that I just mentioned was I didn't apply to take the exam until I knew I was ready. Because if you apply for the exam, the clock starts ticking and you actually only have 1 year to take the exam from the time they accept it. Had I applied at the very start, when I started the training, I would have lost the application, essentially not been able to take it because I took 13 months. And I did so, kind of took my time with it, and I think it was well worth it. So that's how I did it. And, the career path that I'm describing here is pretty much exactly what I did. I wasn't a full blown PMP before I became a project manager, but let me tell you, it really helped. So, what are some example jobs out there? You can be a project scheduler, and that person really helps the PM with all things related to the actual schedule, meaning working with the software, whether it be something like Confluence or project management or Microsoft Project, and there's tons of other types of projects software out there on the cloud. A project scheduler might be somebody that helps the project manager, and that kind of person might be on that lower end of the salary range, right? But they too will eventually likely become a project manager if they desire. You can be a project analyst, right? Project analyst is somebody who kind of helps the project manager, maybe even be a systems analyst. They kind of might be wearing two different hats. It just kind of depends on what they're doing based on the role. Of course, the project manager themselves, that's the leader of the whole project. They're accountable and responsible for all things happening to the project. So there you're looking at knowing different methodologies, possibly like traditional waterfall or agile. You have to know risk, quality, and you'll learn all of this if you study the PMBOK. So not to fret. And then other job would be all the way in the higher end of that scale, maybe the program manager. And a program is a collection of projects. And so the program manager is actually managing all the project managers, if you will, in their project. So the different jobs I just described almost cover that salary range that I mentioned earlier. So I provided several resources down below that might help you along the way as you progress through your career path. And, again, give us a like and comment down below on any questions we didn't answer in terms of navigating your career as a project manager. And we will see you on the next video.
As a reminder, click the like button, leave us your comments, let us know what you'd like to hear more of. Also, click the subscribe button and the bell button so that you're immediately alerted anytime a new video is published. Be sure to join our IT Village, which is the link to communicate with others within our YouTube channel over on our platform so that you can get answers to your questions. And lastly, in the upper right corner of our YouTube channel, click the free download of How Much Can I Make in IT?